Hello everybody, and welcome back to another one of my videos. Today I'm going to be out in my garden, just going to be doing a garden update. I've got a few odd jobs to do in the garden, so I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be doing in the garden today. Sorry for the noise in the background. We've got the schoolyard and I've also got some birds nearby what are nesting and making up a bit of noise, so you might hear that noise in the background a bit more than me, but hopefully we'll get along. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing in the garden. Right everybody, so I'm going to make a start. So I've got my tumbling tomatoes, and I think you saw me prune these in the last video, but these need pruning again. So the ones that are not doing anything, you just prune. I always prune these off just to put a bit more energy into the plant. And as you can see, we've had a lot of tomatoes off of here already. And you can see it's nicely bushing out now, which is getting a bit so what you do is just looking for the ones what are not doing anything, just to put a bit more energy into the flower part of it. I noticed this year, one thing what I haven't seen a lot of this year is a lot of bees, but I'm still getting tomatoes coming, so you have to give thanks for that. So you're just looking for the ones what ain't doing anything, what's getting a bit too big, because a lot of energy is going into them ones. So I'm going to do this and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Right everybody, so I've got this more or less down to where I want it, because I didn't need to do a lot of pruning to these ones, because these ones were pruned last time, so I didn't need to do a lot of pruning. These are a tumbling variety of tomatoes, so got all those more or less sorted to where I want them now, so just leave that. When they come up a bit more, then I can prune them a bit more. But it's just, at the moment you can see it's got tomatoes on there what's ripened up. We've taken a lot off already and it's still sending out a lot of flowers, so that's what you want to do, send energy into the flowers. Right, so be back with my next task. I had them here somewhere. There's two types of ties what I use in the garden. Got these which are the flexible ones, and I also got these ones which they said is for garden. These are a cable tie, but like these are a gardening one, which more flexible, more softer than the usual one, which I prefer to use these ones because they're a lot quicker. So right here I've got my cucumber plant, which is coming along nicely, so I'm just going to get that onto the pole. These ties are very short, so let me change these. I've got some longer ones. I'll be back with you in a sec. So I've got some longer ones now. These are white ones, so they do the same thing. So all it is really, you're just putting the tie on. You're not pulling them too tight to damage the plant in any way, just to keep the, that's how it is. You just can see that plant's got plenty of room to expand. Right, so that's my cucumber. I've got one of my pumpkins. As you can see now, those are running nicely, so I'm going to just get that on the pole as well. So you see, like when you're in the garden, we've having a bit of rain lately, so everything's growing. You can see this one. You can see it's nicely flower underneath, but that needs to go to a pole now, so I'm going to get this onto a pole so that it can start running up the pole. So these are all like the little jobs what you've got to keep on top of in the garden. So I've got a little flower head there which I just broken off. And that's the runner there. So that's what's going to be doing the running up the pole. So I just want to get that onto the pole as well. So now I've broken off the runner. I've just broken off the top of the runner, which is something what I always end up doing. This one is a squash. Yeah, but I might. I'm going to leave this one for a bit, because what I might do is put another pole in. And I've got to put one in this one as well. I've got another one round this back somewhere. So what you want to do as well, what I always do while I'm in there, I always snip off these leaves what don't look too healthy. And then if I see any like little weeds, I just pull those out. So you've got everything coming along healthy. Like you see this now, this is like a common disease with brassicas. You've got the whiteness on the leaves, which they're called powdery mildew. So if I see that on any leaves, I always cut them off. There's a treatment what you can use for them, but like when they're this small and they're not all the way up on the plant, then I'll just cut them off. So that's the thing what you need to always check for. So talking of bees, now I've just spotted one. I can bring the camera in. So I'll just leave them, let them get on with their thing. Right, so that's another one out of the way. And this is my Gigantico tomatoes. As you can see, I pruned them the last time. As you can see, they've come on again. So I'm going to prune off the ones that are not doing anything. So this will be a lot thinner when I finish with it. So I'll just do that, and then I'll do this, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I've finished with it. Right, so I've just finished my tomatoes. As you can see, I've thinned them out to get the air going through them. So the more air you got going through them is the better chance you get them to flower and put more strength into the flowering. Right, so I've got my cucumbers, and you can see from the last time they've come on leaps and bounds. So I'm just going to put these up to the pole so they can run up the pole. So you can see they've put on a lot of growth. We've had a bit of rain. Right, so you can see that's how much growth they've put on since the last video. But I want these growing up the pole, and so these are the things what hold onto the pole itself, so hopefully we should be alright with that. You can see it's sending out a lot of side ones as well. So I've got to decide where I'm going to put those. So this one is the same plant what's sending out another runner. These are nice and healthy. So I'm going to just put that, cable tie this to here for now. And hopefully that'll do the same thing and run up that pole as well. The more upright you keep them is the better when you're growing them like this. You can put them to run up a trellis, but I haven't got the trellis technique, so all I do, I just let mine run up the pole, and then I'll get a better result from them. So let it grow. Once that comes up, that hopefully I could put another one up there and let that go up the pole, because that's where I want it to go. So I'm going to put another one there. Just so it keeps to the pole. So you can see those are nice and healthy. Meanwhile I'm up here, got some Epsom salts. I mean, I always use Epsom salt. These are the longer grain ones. You can get a finer one, but a lot of, I see some growers use aspirin and different methods, but I always just use the Epsom salts. I just sprinkle it around. That's just to keep it nice and green and looking healthy. And while I'm there, I've got my black mint. This is spinning out. I don't know if the pot's too small or what. I've just touched that, and you can smell the garden smells of mint now. Just give that a little boost. So that's another job done. If you want as well, you can use, if you've got any eggshells, I always keep my eggshells, which is what I'm going to be using. It's a nice calcium base for your plants. So if you've got eggshells, you just keep them in a plastic bag, and then you can use them to as a top dressing. You can grind them up, or you can leave them whole and crush them when they've dried, and use that for top dressing for them as well. So I'm going to Be back with you in a minute. Right, with the eggshells, I've got them here, and because I do a lot of baking, wedding cakes and all that, I always keep the shells and I put them in a bag till they're dry, and I tell my kids to put them, the fresh ones at the bottom, so you can see. All what you do, just get them, and you can see they're nicely crumbled. So that's a good source of calcium for your plants as well. And also, what's this good for as well? Because of the sharpness of the shells, when you get snails, the snails don't like walking across this. I think it's the sharpness of the shells. So that's a good source of calcium for your plants. So put some in here. This was the one that I planted the other day. So it's trying to survive, so don't worry about the shells, they sort of disappear after a while. That'll help them along a bit as well. So that's for those. With these tomatoes, what I've just pruned, I'm going to give them a little bit of Epsom salt just to keep them healthy. You don't want to use too much because you know tomatoes already. So it's just a little top dressing what I'm giving them. These ones as well, which is my tumblers. Just give that in and then shake off the excess of the leaves, so you can see that's what I do with mine. These are my rabbit Kobe, what I think you saw me planting next in the last video. You can see these are coming along nicely. So I'm just going to give these a little, I don't know much about these. I just saw them and I bought them. Something different, if it can, you know, that's what a garden's all about. Starting something different. So hopefully we'll get along. Put a little bit more Epsom salts on this bit. Right, so that's another job done. As you can see, when I cutted my chard, those have sprung back. The new ones are coming up now. So I'm just going to give that a little sprinkling as well. Not too much. So it's just a thing that I always just dress them up. I've got my sweet potatoes. As you can see, they're nicely running as well. It's starting to take off now, so I'll show you the other ones in a minute. So I'm just going to dress those with a bit of Epsom salt as well. You don't want to be using too much. You can use bloodfish and bone on them as well, but I just like everything green and healthy, so that's why I use the Epsom salt. If you're going to use aspirin, I'm not sure what the ratio is, but I think they'll crush it and then once they crush it, they mix it with water and dilute it down a bit, and then they use that as a top dressing. But I just use the Epsom salt, just sprinkle a bit on top, and that usually just keeps everything going. So got my Scotch bonnets up here as well. You can see they're doing nice and healthy. They're starting to send out a lot of side shoots now. So those I just top up just a little bit. Don't want to use too much on them. So right, so I'm going to put these ones back now, and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Right, so I think it was on the last video you saw me do my tomatoes. I couldn't get to them, so I had to move a few tubs to get to them, because I need to tie them up and prune them up as well. So all these ones what you see is not doing anything, how long they are. Then you just need to just snip those off, put more energy into the plant. You can see I've got some nice strawberries down here. Just need the gloves. What I need to do, I've got all these like weeds and all that. I just need to get these out. And while I'm here, I'm just doing a little bit of weeding. I've got to get up there into my corns one day and try and weed those out as well. Not like anything what you see what shouldn't be growing, you just pull those out. I don't like to pull too much, because I always end up pulling out everything. So just thinning out this, and I can tie it up to the post. As you can see, they're really coming on leaps and bounds, these tomatoes, this year. I mean, there's some years when you plant tomatoes and you don't get anything much off of them. But as you can see, my ones are all bunched up together, and that's all just down to space really. You get some ties. I'll just get some ties and then pull these off. You can see they're getting a bit heavy for the pole. But you might get your tomatoes more separate than mine. My one bunch up together, but when you've got a small garden, you just make the most of what you can, and that's what I do. As you can see, we've got a lot of tomatoes on them. We've got a nice selection of tomatoes this year. So all what you're doing really is just trying to get the air flowing through them. Just have to watch where I'm putting my foot. So going to do this as best I can and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Right everybody, so I've got those pruned out as much as I can. You can see how much I've taken off. So you can see that there's enough air going through them. And I just moved my bucket, and I usually check these all the time. And I'm just looking down here, and I'm going to just snip this up and show you what I found down here. Look at that. So I was saying, we've been getting stuff out of the garden already. So that would just show me that I need to check in between a bit more, because there's stuff there. So that's meant to be a green courgette, but you know, if you leave them there, develop into a marrow. So just going to put a bit of Epsom salt down there to help this one as well. Just pull out any little weeds. So I'm just going to clean this up a bit and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Right everybody, as you can see, I've got my corns coming along nicely, but between them there's a lot of some weeds. What I need to get rid of without pulling them up. So I'll try to do as much weeding as I can, but like with my back. And you know the funny thing about it, I'm going to show you one because there's a lot of them coming up. As well as potatoes, if you leave a potato in the ground all year, what happens after a while, if it's healthy enough and thing, it'll start to grow voluntary. And the other plant what I always find what grows voluntary are tomatoes. And if I look around, I see quite a few coming up. So these are like when you get your tomatoes growing and they drop off, you leave the tomatoes and then the seeds, they get covered and they stay there, and then eventually they germinate and you get a volunteer tomato. But I'll just pull that one up because if I look down here, there's quite a few. There's even a big one coming up here. What kind of tomato they are, I don't know. You can see lot of little ones coming up here, there and everywhere. I'm just going to take it up. You can see, I don't know, there's about 12 down there what's just come up voluntary, but I'll just have to leave them. They're in between the corn, so I don't know if when the corns come up more they'll smother them a bit. So I'm just gonna come back down and then I'll be back with you in a sec. So when I come out into the garden, another thing what I always do, I always check everything. This is my sweet potato which I put in a smaller bucket as a trial. So you can see that's starting to come along nicely, so might have to turn the bucket around and just let it grow somewhere else once it starts running a bit more. You can see once they get going, they do really take off. And I hope all those who's brought sweet potatoes for me, or brought sweet potato or given sweet potatoes, please let me know how your ones are coming on. You can see my broccolis are coming along nicely. My French beans, you can see, are running up the poles now, and these are some of the seeds ones that I planted there, starting to run up the poles now, so I'll just put them onto the pole. You can see they're starting to come along nicely. My broccoli, they're doing quite nicely now. You can see the development in them. So what I'll do when they get a bit bigger, I'll just fold over a couple of the leaves to keep them going. You can see my French beans on the pole. They're just running now. So if I can get this one round. Well, obviously you can see they're coming along nicely now, starting to flower, so how tall those will get, I don't know. Right, I did have my scissors with me, but I don't know what I've done with it. This is one of my pumpkin plants, what I put it in here with the onions, because I had it in the conservatory. I was meant to give it to someone, but they let me down, and I lost a few of them. So what I did, I just took them out and planted them. Got to find places to plant them. I know they're going to run and take up space if it takes off, but that's how it goes sometimes. So I'll be back with you in a minute. I'm just going to find where I put the scissors. So I've got my courgettes, and as you've seen in the videos, I've been getting quite a few yellow ones off of here. So I'm just going to cut off these leaves what ain't doing anything. You can see they're just like greening up. And you can see there's quite a few courgettes on there. I'm just looking at that one at the back, because that's a green one. I don't want it to grow into a marrow, if there's any on there. So all I do is just check all the leaves, make sure that all the leaves are nice and healthy. If I see any leaves that I don't like the look of, I'll just trim them off. Which is like that. I know it's not too bad, but I don't like the look of it, so I'll just take that off. What's grown into my tomatoes, I'll take those off as well. Just try and keep everything together. I know I've got a bit more pruning on these tomatoes, but it's what you can reach. This one I don't like the look of, so that makes, as you can see, it gives the plant a bit more air. And I've got a little bit of pruning on those back tomatoes, but they're not that thing. You can see there's a lot of tomatoes on there, on the plants. So we've got quite a lot of those. Right, my onions, you can see they're still thin. I use the stalks for cooking. I use them as spring onions. I don't know what the onions are like up down there yet, but I'm gonna pull up one when I'm doing some cooking and show you what we've got down there, if we've got onions down there or what. So hopefully you'll see that video. There's another rotten leaf. chop that one off. Let's see. So you can see the onions, and the potatoes, you can see they're starting to dry up now. So I'm going to leave these for till when of these top bits, but you can see the bottom bits on them are starting to dry down now. So I don't see no potatoes at the top or anything, which usually sometimes with potatoes you get them. These was the ones what I planted last. You can see they're coming along nicely, so those will be the last ones what I harvest. But whether we got any potatoes down there is another story. Someone said to me I shouldn't have put the chicken manure pellets on them, but otherwise you get more growth, which I don't know if that's what I've been doing. Right, so with my tomatoes now, I've got some Epsom salts. So what I do, I just sprinkle it in between. So that, and then with the corn as well, I just sprinkle it under the roots. Try not to get any on the inside of the plant. Then with our sweet potatoes round the back as well, I just put a little bit on them. Those were the last ones I've grown, and as you can see, this is my other one. You can see how much growth it's got on it, because even like all this growth, if you break off a section like there, you can come in closer with the camera. You can, if we was like in a hotter climate, you could break off a section like that and stick it in, and it'll root and grow. So that's how sweet potatoes are. So I'm just gonna give that a little dressing, keep them healthy. So I don't worry too much about getting them on the leaves and everything, because what I do is just go around and shake them off, and then they'll be alright. Just like you're just dressing up the things. What you're doing really, just giving everything a little nitrogen and such you like into the plant itself. So I won't worry about too much, because if you get them on the leaves, because I'll just water that in later. But it looks like we're going to get some rain, so I'm not really too much bothered. Right, these are my other peppers. You can see they're coming along nicely. They're just starting to spread and flower now, so just going to give those a little boost as well. And this is my other sweet potato. You can see the potatoes are coming over. I don't think this one likes the position what it's in, but I haven't got nowhere else to put it at the moment, so just give that a little boost. So once that gets rained in, then it'll energise the plant a bit. My basil, you can see, is coming along nice and healthy. We've used some of it already. And then you see my shallots are doing nice and healthy. You can see some nice growth in there. Got some weeds in here what I'll pull out. So you have to look in between these weeds. Are a pain in the neck, but all of us as gardeners have to do it. So you can see those are nice and healthy. My lettuce, bit overgrown. These are cut and come again lettuce, so I've been using them a lot. Every now and then we get a few snails, that's why you see the holes in them, but we'll keep on top of it. Right, and you can see my other lettuces, you can see the growth on those. They're nice and healthy. Been using them, or what you do is just take off the outer leaves. Sorry. Right, so my lettuces, you can see that they're doing quite well. We just got to use the outer leaves and then they spring back. You can see I've been using those a lot. They're really nice salad. Right, and then just get this back, and then I'll be back with you in a minute. Just going to move this bucket. Right, so showed you most of what's going on. Got my cucumbers, they're coming on. There's quite a few on there. My pumpkins, I haven't seen any yet, but they're starting to run now, so I'll just keep an eye on those. I think I showed you my kohlrabi, my chard and my spinach are coming along nicely. And then a few people's been saying, what about our carrots? Let me see if I can see one and pull one up. So you can see I've got some down there, but they're kind of compact, so I'm just going to leave them. You can see the tops of them, but I'm just going to leave them in for a while. The other pain in the neck thing now, is what do I do with these? You can see my broccoli's coming on nicely now. Got quite a lot down there, but these now I need to take the tops off. This is my kale. Been using this most of the time. I just use the leaves in a smoothie, like with bananas, mangoes and various plants. Makes a very nice smoothie. So I think they're almost time for them to come up now, so you can see they're starting to flower. I don't know if that was, I think that was one of my broccolis actually. Off the flower heads. I don't think there's much left on them now, so I'll soon be pulling them out and maybe putting something else in there. As you can see, my lilies are starting to come out now. One of my favourites, this colour's my favourite. I had a darker one but I haven't seen it come up this year yet, which really almost looks like black when it comes out. But I haven't seen that one come up this year, so I don't know. I usually have a lot more lilies than that. But I don't know what's happened with them this year. I think they don't want to be on video. Right, so that's those trimmed up. And then with these beetroots now, I had the leaf miner disease on them, which I looked up, and I don't know if I'm going to get any beetroots this year. My mind is just telling me to pull the whole things up and just call it a day on these, but I don't know, because there's some beetroots down there. I don't know whether to pull them up and just call it, use the tub for something else, because this is a thing what you don't want spreading in your garden. I don't know how I managed to get it, because it's only on the beetroots and the chard. It's like a little bug what goes in and it just chews away and then just dries out the leaves and just suck out all the energy out of everything. So just keep on top of it. You can see, I don't know if I've done the wrong thing, but I'm going to leave them for a couple of weeks and then I'm going to pull these out and see what's down there. I can see the tops of some of them, and then some of them are sending out new growth, so I don't know how deep down those things have got, but I'm just chopping out all the leaves that I don't like the look of. So, stretching my back. All this bending ain't good for my back. So I'm going to just give these a little sprinkling of Epsom salt to help those along a bit as well. I'm not going to water these in either. So that's basically it for today. So I'll be back with you in a minute. Right, so that's basically my jobs for today. My back is killing now, so we're going to have to rest that a bit. I don't want to overdo it too much. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you what was happening with the sweet potatoes. I think you saw when I put them back into water, and as you can see, it's starting to take root again. Just bringing the camera a bit nearer. You can see they're starting to take the roots on again. But you won't get sweet potatoes from this. If you plant this, you might get some if it was like a hotter climate, but over here no. And as you can see, it's got putting some on, but these ones don't look that healthy out here. This one as well. You can see that's sent out some as well. So you can see how much sweet potatoes you can get from one plant. Right. So that's everything in my garden. I think I've shown you how everything's coming along. You can see that area's coming along nicely now. Still got plants coming out in between. lilies and everything. You can see how fast the grapevine grows. I have to try and get over there and chop that down again, because it's them little tiny grapes and they're only good for like making wine. They're not an eating grape. If there was an eating grape I would have left them, but they're just a wine grape. Showed you my peppers and everything. So that's basically what's going on in my garden for now. So I said to you on one of the videos that I'm going to be making an announcement, and the announcement is, if you've got a small garden and you live in the Luton to London area and it's nicely flowering, you plant your things, a small container garden or a small garden, and you would like to feature it on one of my videos, you can either drop me a message or you can send me a short video of your gardens so I can see what it looks like, and if it's something that we see what we like, we can make an arrangement. I can come down and film your garden and feature it on one of my videos. So that is an offer what I'm making to most of you small gardeners. If you watch the channel, please watch it to the end. Please like, share and subscribe. We're trying to build up the subscriber numbers so we can get the channel going. This channel's not only for me, it's for everybody who's into small gardening and containers, which is what I do. So if you got a small garden, just drop me a line, leave a comment in the comment section, or if you can get a small video of what's going on in your garden, I can send you my email. If you contact me, I'll send you my email and you can send me a short video of your garden. If it's good enough quality, then I can feature it straight away. I can edit it and feature it straight away. Or if not, I can come to you and video your garden and it can feature on one of my future ones. So that is my offer to all you small gardeners and container growers. So if you like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell another friend, and we'll all see you on the next one. And don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and there's nothing more that I would like to say, but just get the channel growing. I know a lot of people's watching and we're getting comments not only on YouTube but also on WhatsApp, and you're watching but you're not subscribing, so please subscribe and build up the channel to what it should be. And I'll see you all on the next one, and happy gardening.